Welcome to the Postgame. I'm Michael Brooks with super producer Matt Leck, head theoretician David Grishcombe, super producer David Slavic off-site, tracking your Discord questions, and with my comrade, paisan, brother, Will Menaker, Chapo Trap House.
Glad to be here.
Thanks for coming by, man. Appreciate it.
Glad to be here, like I said, because you guys are right by the Shake Shack, so I get to.
Do you really
I
like
get to
Shake
have a
Shack?
little treat.
You really like it?
Yeah.
I don't like Shake Shack.
You refer to
man.
Five Guys?
Five Guys is definitely better than
You like
Shake
Five
Shack.
Guys better than Shake Shack?
I don't even see how it's a debate.
Okay. Interesting.
We had Five Guys in North Dakota, so Shake Shack is more new to me, so that's why I prefer that.
Uh-huh.
I don't. Shake Shack is like one of these phenomenal. Like, you know, like you ever have things in culture like you're not like contrary. It's not like
What, like
it's not
Ta-Nehisi Coates?
Exactly. No, actually, you know what? I don't hate Ta-Nehisi Coates. No, actually, it is a good example. Ta-Nehisi Coates is like the Shake Shack. It's like, yeah, it's fine. All right, whatever. Why is everybody making such a big deal about this? So explain it to me. Explain the Ta-Nehisi Coates of burger chains to me.
They're good burgers.
They're good.
They're good burgers,
yeah.
Michael. I don't know how to describe it. It's
Yeah.
just I'm
Just good
with
burgers,
it.
huh?
Yeah.
I think as befits my like hippie upbringing, I think I actually do like. I like the fucking like artisanal grass fed. Like I like that shit.
It's a surprise you eat meat at all, to be honest.
Well, you know, I mean, I've probably in 30 or 40 years, if we survive as a species, people who eat meat will be looked back upon as like complete moral cretins. Like I have no doubt about that.
Absolutely.
Like we're completely in the wrong.
Yeah. Oh,
Like
100%.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Like-
I'm not going to stop.
Right. I mean, but it's like a
what
lot
do
of
you want from
other
me?
behaviors like that I'm not going to stop that I know are wrong. You know, it's like look, sometimes it is like a can't stop,
Hey, I
won't
gotta-
stop
I
bad
gotta-
boy world.
I got to live my life, okay?
Gotta live my life.
This is like sometimes in the post game we definitely get into Rogan territory, and I'm feeling that kind of like look, like eating it is wrong, but I'm gonna live my life.
Yeah, I'm on that Rogan tip 24/7, dude.
Dude, Rogan. I've actually been. It's funny, like nothing like too revelatory, but we had I had Dr. Christopher Ryan on the show a couple weeks ago. You know, he wrote that book Sex at Dawn. He's kind of interesting, very interesting guy. Wrote this like book called Civilized to Death, and he's a Rogan regular. So I've been kind of like picking his
I'm
brain.
sure Rogan would love that.
I didn't pick, yeah.
It's fucking crazy, man. We're just like fucking apes, just
So wait,
fucking
like-
and sucking each
Wait,
other
so
all day.
wait, so bonobos just fuck,
It's just, dude.
dude. But apes don't fuck, which is why they're more. And then I get worried, like, am I an ape or am I like? I'm trying to be a fucking bonobo.
Bonobo?
Dude.
You ever see the?
I'm trying to be a
one
fucking
of my
bonobo.
One of my favorite Rogan clips. God, we were on a weird tangent already. One of my favorite
go.
Rogan
It's
clips
good.
is
It's perfect.
him and his co-host. They're watching the clip from the movie Grizzly Man. They're
I
watching
know that. I
that
remember that movie.
long footage. It was an amazing scene captured by Timothy Treadwell
Yeah.
of these two gigantic grizzly bears fighting each other.
Right.
And it's like so primal and intense, these things. Like I think at one point they're fighting each other so hard one of them just starts shitting everywhere. And like they're going at each other so hard, and Rogan is doing commentary on it like it's the MMA.
Oh, that's
and
pretty
he's
funny.
like he's like that's textbook sidebar right there. So he's got control from the bottom. He's got control. This is just pure. This is natural. He's ground game. See, he's totally controlling him from his back. His ground game is perfect. He's like, and he's just like, he's like these bear, like critiquing the Bears fighting style. It was so awesome.
The thing that I enjoy, I fell off Rogan because like he's a guy you just reach a saturation point with and you need to take a break, and also because he started having like fucking cretins on his show regularly, like beyond the normal like doctor prescribed amount of like, so like you wrote this thing saying like girls are bitches and like college students freaked out. Isn't that weird? Let's talk about it for 3 hours. And then we'd have guys like that on, and he would co-sign on all their bullshit until they would like mistakenly say weed was bad. And then he'd like, right up, like, get the fuck out of my studio.
That's why I like Joe. That's why I love Joe, because like, he has
I love Joe.
He has
too.
a few, red lines that I think, shouldn't be crossed, and that drugs are good.
Drugs are good.
One of them,
and like gay people are all right.
Yeah, gay people are all right.
Yep.
But what I like about Joe is that I think he genuinely does have an open mind to everything.
Like,
and he just has a mind like a lint roller. It just sort of picks up everything. And he's one of the few people like that I think genuinely have like an open mind that I respect.
No,
like
I think
that.
I think
that
that's
he
true.
is like he is open to like all different wavelengths from the universe to just kind of like pass through him.
No, that's the part of him that's super cool. I do remember too.
I'm not. I'm very rigid and closed off.
Oh yeah, I don't give a fuck. I barely care about people's opinions that I agree with. But I liked when he had a guy who used to co-host the show with him or produce a show who was definitely like basically like he was kind of an idiot, because I'll just speed it up, and he was clearly like of pre-Joe Rogan sort of starting to take himself seriously. Like he was of the like, I used to do Fear Factor and now like I'm gonna have an MMA guy on to explain the moon landing, like that version of the show. And then he started being like, Sam Harris, like, whoa, Muslims, fucking A. And which also pissed me off at him because I loathe Sam Harris. But that being said, what was great was that this guy would chime in. Like Rogan is like trying to like posture for like a Sam Harris type. And he's just like, yeah, so like there's like your MRIs are showing like religion. And Sam Harris was like, that's right, because beliefs have consequences. And then this guy would come on and be like, did you know girls are sneaking coke into clubs? There's like secret compartments in their purses now. And he'd be like, shut the fuck up, Brian. And then like Harris would, like he would just sort of sit there and be uncomfortable while like Rogan berated his like idiot producer who was trying to interject just like nonsense.
Speaking of, we were talking earlier about nerds in the media, and you know, Sam Harris is a fucking dork.
Oh,
and like I noticed him this week. He like I love the shit he did this week. Where like on Twitter, he just posted a photo of Christopher Hitchens without a single like comment, and then he followed up with just replying to like your photo and was like, "Hey, just want to clarify, like it's this is the anniversary of his death or whatever, and just Christopher just he meant so much to me. I think Christopher, he won more arguments than most of us have ever had in our lives." I was like, that's wild, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
It's extreme living right there, buddy.
It was just like, he just provides a model that I pattern my life after. And like, here's the thing. Despite the fact that I'm sure they've appeared together many times and have, had social
the Four
interactions.
Horsemen.
Oh God. Yeah. They cashed in together in a lot of that new atheist shit in the early 21st century that, I'll admit I was an early adherent of, as I think many of us were at that age. That being said, I can say with 100% confidence
at that point.
100% confidence, despite Sam Harris's weepy worship of him, that Hitchens probably couldn't stand him. I'm willing to say that with 1,000% confidence that he did nothing but talk shit about him behind his back.
I co-sign, because the thing with Hitchens is that you got to deal Hitchens was an asshole. And Hitchens totally discredited himself with the Iraq thing alone. But these people that have worshipped him and lobbed onto him from Sam Harris on down to these fucking amoebas with their YouTube videos of Sam Harris or Christopher Hitchens owns X.
Stupid Muslim is obvious what X.
Yeah, stupid Muslims, but all that owns stupid Muslim. None of these guys, because at the of course, if any of us in this room are being honest, as big a massive dick and as wrong as he was, of course you'd spend the night drinking with Christopher Hitchens. Whereas you would actively avoid any contact with any of these other people.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine being stuck in a room in some transcendental meditation retreat with Sam Harris.
As a meditator, that's actually like a legitimate fear of mine. I
Well,
literally
that's so
had
funny
an
about-
anxiety when Sam Harris called me out on Twitter for
really?
misrepresenting his views.
Oh, okay.
Which, like,
He's
of course,
misrepresenting his views about
naturally.
ESP or whatever?
Yeah. No, well, actually, I just stake to the basics, like
Okay.
torture, and I had this thought. I was like, I'm gonna go on a fucking 10-day meditation retreat. And this motherfucker is going to, like, this gormless trust fund baby Islamophobe is going to stumble through the front door, and I'm going to be locked in silence with this prick for 10 days.
He really is gormless, I think, is the perfect word to describe him. If you ever like just looking at his face, it's just gormless. What was the other thing about? Oh yeah, and then he was like, Christopher. He said, it's just he's gone now, but the abomination Donald Trump represents like a refutation of everything Christopher believed in and stood for.
Really?
And I was just like, owned.
Like
Owned.
misogyny and warmongering.
Well, that's the funny thing. Is
like, what are you talking about?
As Dan O'Sullivan pointed out, I wouldn't be so confident about that. I think Trump obviously Hitchens, I don't think would have like openly supported Trump, but he would have found some contrarian way to like support a lot of like the Muslim ban or something like that, or he would find certain ways to like. Well, keep in mind he may have voted for Trump because if he were alive, because keep in mind like his thing with Hillary Clinton was like very
he had a pathological obsession with her. He voted for the Bush reelect, and the thing it is that like people remember the last race, like he endorsed Obama in 2008, and I think like the enduring lesson of Hitchens that for all of the like high-minded blah blah blah, it was both what made him super fun as a writer and also what ultimately makes his legacy vacuous. It was just a pure personality thing. Like he found Obama tolerable and he didn't find Clinton tolerable, which incidentally, like I get. Like I actually on a personal level I kind of agree, but there's no politics to it. He would have chosen.
Contrarianism was always very calculated.
Yes,
and
it was a marketing proposition.
It was always very calculated, and I think like the best own of Christopher Hitchens is that Alexander Cockburn outlived him, and
yes, that's your boy.
Well, Cockburn is everything that like everything that Hitchens was like trying to be, and who didn't squander every ounce of credibility on the Iraq War, because that's the thing. Hitchens is a better writer and critic than like 99% of the people who worship him and
of course
have tried to inherit that mantle, which is like a poison cup to sip out of. But he squandered it all. Like he died on that fucking horse, literally.
Yeah.
He literally died on that hill. And bye.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Goodbye. Sorry, dude.
Yeah.
And just
you literally had nothing else to contribute to the world. So bye.
I remember the funniest exchange. I just Matt, and then say what you're going to say. But there was this funny thing where, and I think some people will hear this now as like homophobia on the part of Cockburn and Hitchens, but I actually read it as more like the fact is probably two like UK prep school guys that this was not an abstraction for them, these types of interactions. And Cockburn had this piece about Hitchens where he like, in a broader description of like just an evisceration of Hitchens' personality, he was sort of like, and every time he greets you, he's always like clinging on you, like looking for, arms to hold and lips to kiss. And I remember Hitchens' response was something to the effect of like, I got what you were implying and I've never tried to jump his bones. And there is just something in that exchange where you're like, man, like at least it was fun.
Gore Vidal outlived him too.
Gore Vidal beat him as well. But I think the other thing Cockburn for his flaws was like he was the perfect synthesizer. Like he was a genuine radical who genuinely didn't give a fuck, and he also had style and humor. Which is really lacking.
Like a really like the razor sharp prose that people try to imitate in Hitchens. Like Cockburn did it far more effortlessly and just with a much lighter touch than Hitchens.
Yeah, no, I think that's right.
The main difference between Hitchens and Harris is just history, basically. Like Harris has in none of his analysis does he have any appreciation of history or politics.
Yeah, he's historically illiterate. I remember the last memory I have of Hitchens. I remember one time he was on one garbage reactionary radio show, and they actually got stumbled up. And it was so funny. In some ways, it still was totally pathetic on Hitchens' part because he was actually being apologetic. But they got into Israel-Palestine, and Hitchens essentially was like saying something effective like, dude, like, I'm sorry. I know too much. I can't endorse what you're saying about this because that's just not what the situation is. On the other hand, like, if he was speaking to a leftist, he would have, happily come out guns blazing and told whoever it was how pathetic they were. But at the same time, to his credit, it would like occasionally show up that like, oh, like this is actually a very well-read and sophisticated person, unlike a Harris who's like, hey, I don't need to know anything about the history of the Middle East because I can do like a brain experiment. And Muslims bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Imagine 3 babies on the edge of a cliff.
Literally.
You can save one of them.
Exactly.
But like 2/3 of them are Hitler.
Plus, the Quran is bad. Boom. That's how we understand. All right, let's take our first call. You should put on the headphones back for this. You are calling from a 610 area code. I hope you have something hostile and controversial to say to Will Menaker.
Dayton, Ohio. You're on the air. Hello. Go.
You can actually speak now. No?
Are you with me?
Yeah, man. 610. Go ahead.
Hey, it's Mike from Pennsylvania.
Hey, Mike from Pennsylvania. How are you, my friend? What's going on, buddy?
I'm doing great. Hey, Will, one comment for you. You might have less time for Ben Shapiro books if you ate a little less Steak Shack.
Why is that?
So
I was talking about going to the bathroom.
right.
Hey, come on. I am very regular, okay? Let me tell you. It's like clockwork, all right?
I don't know.
There's nothing to worry about.
I want to talk about Northam a little bit, too.
Yeah, talk about
Another
Northam,
pile of
that
shit.
fucking prick.
So it looks first of all, it shows how important primaries are.
Yes, Perriello was a much better candidate.
Around.
Yep, that's true.
And the other, but the other really exciting thing is the recount was just completed in Virginia delegates races.
Oh, you're right. They picked up
And
another by 1 vote, right?
Yeah, when all the provisional ballots were verified, they ended up flipping it to 50-50 by 1 vote.
That's like the movie election with Reese Witherspoon and Matt
It's a
Broderick.
great movie.
Yeah, it's kind of like unbelievable.
I bet Al Franken's watching that right now
seats.
and fantasizing about destroying Christian Gillibrand's career.
That's my goal.
She is very Tracy Flick.
Oh, she's super Tracy Flick. There's
And
no
as
doubt about it.
I'm convinced she will be the 2020 nominee for the Democrats. I think she has
Wow.
a strong. I think she's got a strong inside track right now.
I mean, she definitely has the inside track there. I don't think that's debatable.
I think her political instincts are a little bit cannier than the rest of the bunch.
Yeah, she's made a few like progressive pivots since the whole Bernie thing, right?
Oh yeah, but so is Kamala.
No, I mean, Chris, can I say something about Gillibrand? She is a blue dog Democrat.
Yeah.
She voted
Yeah.
against the Obama stimulus
Right.
in 2009. I mean, she's about as right-wing as you could get. And then when she became a senator, suddenly she shifted.
Well, she
So
was
if she
from
becomes
upstate New
president,
York, you know.
like
so.
the betrayal will be instant.
I mean, my kind of basic. I mean, I think though that we need to take as a cynical and ultra cautious and operational, but nonetheless a win, that now like the mainstream smart play is to move to the left. That's a good thing.
Yes, but they're moving to the left on paper, which is why you need to elect someone who actually is fired up about it.
Hey, dude.
Otherwise, you're going to get a Northam.
I agree. I'm totally. Obviously, I want Bernie to get another shot of like old man rigor and fucking take it. That's who.
Bernie's going to be the nominee, by the way, Will.
Oh yeah.
Who?
From your lips
Yeah.
to God's ears, Mike.
he's going to be the nominee.
Dude, Mike
on the
from
ground,
PA has
talking to
called he called Corbyn overperforming, he called Doug Jones, and he called all of the 2017. So this
Okay.
is like not just
All right,
a bullshitter
this
here.
is not just some first time, long time.
No.
listener here.
This
Yeah.
is
First time, long time.
this is a long time all the time.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike, I hope
One more thing.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah. I'm going to pump some people again, if you don't mind.
Please.
And if you do, fuck you, I'm going to do it anyway.
pump me down.
Yeah, so we're like taking over the party here in Lehigh County. in eastern Pennsylvania, Allentown. And we just got, so the guy I'm working for, Mark Tinsley, vote Mark Tinsley, check him out. We're focusing on attacking the ruling class. It's not just $15 minimum wage or some specific list of policies. It's about upending the entire system that we have. So if you guys check that out, Will, if you'd retweet that, please. Thank you.
What's that name again?
Also have,
Tinsley?
Say the name again.
It's vote Mark Tinsley, Pinsley. And we have another candidate running for that congressional seat. My opponent in 2014, I don't know if you remember, but he was running for that seat, and I totally didn't rat fuck him out of the race. That did not happen. I had nothing to do with it. And so he's dropping out, but I'm supporting another hyper-progressive candidate, Edwards for PA, the 15th district here in Pennsylvania. It's Charlie Dent. That piece of shit is retiring. So,
hey, Mike, you know what it reminded me of
out.
when you talked about you're talking about the ruling class and not just $15 minimum wage. Recently, I was on the Mixed Mental Arts podcast, which my buddies Brian Callen and Hunter Motz, and that's definitely in that Joe Rogan verse. And Brian Callen's like
the autodidact bros. I call
total
that
autodidact bros, and Callen's like used to be on Mad TV, and he does stand up and everything. He's great. I actually hung out with him in New York recently. I went to go see him do stand up, but he totally he's kind of a libertarian and into that bullshit. And when I came on the phone, he's like, "Oh, we got a liberal," and I was like, "Dude, I'm not. I'm a socialist. I'm here to take all your shit." So I like that. Yeah, forget $15 minimum wage. Take all their shit. Thanks for the call, man.
And I will peace out by extending it. I'd like to extend an olive branch to John in San Antonio.
I don't think John in San Antonio is a patron of this show. I don't think so.
In the spirit of the season, I'd like to say I'm doubling down. Fuck you, John. Bye.
Ooh.
That's what I like to hear.
I like it. All
That's
right.
what I like to hear.
Judge Shapiro.
Beef on the radio.
Yeah, tons of beef. There's a lot of this is a very volatile group of people. You're calling from a 720 area code. Who are you? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brooksy, it's Bert Holtnecht calling from Lansing, Michigan.
What's up, my brother? How
Lansing, Michigan. Hello.
You're really into that.
So
I've always wanted to be
like
Larry King. I don't. This feels great.
So I got something I could go at Will at in a second about this, but I want to talk about the nerds for a second.
Yeah, please. We're gonna get back to them.
Because I've been working on this. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I've been working on this thesis that I have been kind of kicking around my head ever since getting in a knockdown drag 'em out with a Harry Potter super fan friend of mine. And basically my thesis goes a little something like this. A mix of some bullying and some organized sports actually is a net good for development.
I completely agree with you.
I
100% agree with you.
I agree. So I'm disturbed at how readily I agree with that. I never knew how big a normie I am until I just heard that. Yes, 100% agree.
Yeah, so like when I'm looking at my generation, like specifically, and I was born in '91, so I'm a little younger than you guys, but same basic cohort.
Right.
But the main difference between us is that I grew up in a post No Child Left Behind funding structure in public schools.
Yeah.
And so when I'm looking at my contemporaries, the kids I know who got bullied and didn't do any sports, they ended up as like anime freak Kekastanis, and the kids who did the sports and didn't get bullied, they all ended up like Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds. so
it's the golden mean, man. It's Aristotle again.
I have a sort of similar. I have sort of a similar idea about exposure to religion. You know, because I feel like just a little bit of Christianity, but like not rigorously enforced at home. You know, so like if it can fall away from you organically, then it like builds up an immunity for other stupid shit. So you don't end up like, joining a cult or, in dabbling in, Eastern spiritualities, which are, even more dangerous.
I dig it. I buy that.
I think, yeah.
So what was and now you had something to go after Will about.
Yeah. So, if we're attempting to drag Will, I got a different.
Don't attempt. Just
King. Just destroy me.
Star Wars was good. Actually.
My most I knew it. The Last Jedi was good, not just the whole series you're talking about now.
No, specifically The Last Jedi.
Okay, so you liked it?
Actually,
I'm sorry, may I just interject one thing?
twofold.
Wait. You're going to explain in a second. I just have to say here, apropos of this conversation, neither of you guys are bullied enough. Okay, go ahead.
Exactly. As long as we're talking about
Oh, I was
nerds.
fully
Now we're gonna-
relentlessly, man. I got beat up a lot.
Okay, go ahead. Make the case, nerd.
Yeah. All right. So, like, basically, when you look at the reaction from the nerds online, it's making them so enraged. And generally speaking, any stimulus that makes nerds this enraged in the past half decade or so, actually good. Mm-hmm. And the reason it's making them mad, and the reason I think this movie is actually good, is that it appears as though Rian Johnson was tasked to helm this, and he actively disdains what Star Wars is and represents. Like, there are so many moments in the movie where he's basically giving a middle finger to everything that came before him. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I think it's good. It basically tells all the Star Wars nerds
Yes,
to eat
but
it.
Was it a good movie?
Oh my God!
there were
Will
like
even
four
just
good
did the
scenes.
hands, dude. There were a lot of toilets that you needed to get flushed in. I could see. Oh my God! All right, sync in the music, guys. Fucking nerds. All right, so well, that you just
toilets
got
are
a
flushed.
debate. We just responded to. You got anything? But was it a good movie?
Yeah, there were like 4 good scenes.
Oh yeah, that's what, four good scenes in a movie that was 3.5 hours long. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, that's what we all wanted.
See, I'm all about the death of the author, and I'm not trying to look at the source material itself. I'm just looking at what its cultural effect is, and I'm seeing a lot of people pooping their pants in pure rage. So I just got to conclude that it's good.
I'm a purist. I only judge what's on the screen in my experience in the film itself.
So totally decontextualized. Yeah. Our final thought here.
I got put in a lot of toilets as a child, and it made me what I am today.
So it made you better for it.
I remember like the other week there was this thing going around Twitter where it was like everyone was quote tweeting and responding to it, and it was like, what were you bullied for as a kid? And there were people were coming with all these different responses, and I wanted to do as a troll a version of that, like, what did I see a lot of people talking about this. So I just figured I'd chime in. What did you bully people for as a kid? Because for me, it was just, any kind of difference or weakness. If I thought I could ingratiate myself with more popular kids, I would pick someone weaker than myself or different and attack them for that. I mean, that's just me personally.
Oh my God. It's another problem. The whole bullying discourse, it's like another problem. Like, everything is flattened now. So, like, the lack of distinction making between like stories that truly are like terrifying and horrible, like kids being like just absolutely tortured because of who they are, and then just like the actual reality that like most people, I would argue like basically everybody, like the reality was like most kids gave and received and were like on both angles of it and just sort of like figured it out.
I think a lot of,
which maybe wasn't healthy, but that was the reality. At least
I think a lot of online discourse is.
Thanks for the call, man. I'm gonna let you go.
Thank you for calling.
Yeah. All the good.
I was gonna say I think a lot of online discourse is sort of set and mediated by indoor kids, And so it's like by a lot of the sort of like online harassment and bullying, I have a hard time taking seriously because it's just like the experience of having friends is like you got to learn how to roast and be roasted,
right?
Right,
and also that it's actually usually like a sign of love, like in a proper friend group. You roast each other, or it's just something you have to deal with,
or it's just something you have to deal with. There,
some people are just assholes, and sometimes you're an asshole,
and you gotta
sort of is what it is.
Have you ever paid attention to how much Robert Reich talks about bullying?
Robert,
because he was
the labor secretary. Well, he's
he was
literally
like
under
he's
5
like,
feet tall. Though. I mean,
he's
like
That's
how
gotta
David
be
just
tough.
like, hey, you ever read about that fucking midget labor secretary? That guy's always going on about bullying. What a loser!
Almost
What a
every week he
fucking
puts out an
loser.
op-ed where he describes Trump and the bullies in power, and he talks about them as this big class of people who have completely taken over the government. I just put in Google Robert Reich bully.
Right.
There's 2 pages of just Robert Reich titles
The class
talking about
politics of
bullies.
bullying.
Well, you know what I think the problem with that is that I have more sympathy than my my employee David, who has no human empathy. But I think the problem with that frame is that it's like Crazy Donald. Like that flatters their self-image. He wants to be thought of as a bully
course
who
he
runs the
does.
cluster. So why would you indulge that?
Yeah.
He's a fucking orange-faced trust fund baby loser. Like, that's more where we need to be going. Versus
Bully
like,
him.
Oh, you're such a bully.
Bully back. Bully the right people.
That needs to be the hashtag.
Yeah.
Hashtag bully back. It does need. It's like nobody
or
watched.
not bully back, just bully the right people.
Bully the right
Don't do
people.
it back.
Right.
Find these people and bully them. Seek them out and torment them.
Yes, I mean that's honestly like one of the only things that I could extrapolate. A lot of it was out of our control, but one of the only things that I could extrapolate from the situation with Cernovich was that like we just didn't. I mean, there was actually a couple of days where it was like, I mean, the show Majority Report was definitely going to survive because that's the advantage of independent media. But like, you know, Sam was out at MSNBC. Advertisers were like fleeing. Like it was not great, but our response was like, well, now this guy's going to find out what being victim of his own success means. Like, not to crouch, like, oh, okay. Well, now you really have our attention. We're going to seriously fucking destroy you now, which incidentally is actually still going to happen.
By the way, fucking Mike Cernovich was he's back in the news today because like this thing where the train derailment, they're trying to say that like the Antifa. Like, they're trying to just seed the idea. Him and Jack Prilosek are trying to like, what they're doing is like they found what I'm sure is some alt-right person posing as Antifa.
Right.
Because I would say probably 90% of the people that are on social media saying I'm Antifa are just
Nazis.
Are just alt-right people saying like, yeah, oh, we're gonna derail a train with concrete or whatever.
Right.
Or just some blog post about someone saying they're gonna do it from like a year ago. And Cernovich was like, why isn't the media investigating and like, building up this completely spurious connection. And then when people call him on it and people from the media are asking him to like verify this, he's on a Periscope playing back an old Periscope from the day before where he goes, is this something? Is it nothing? I don't know. Maybe it's something. Maybe it's nothing.
Wow, Mike
And I'm like,
Cernovich learning
this
Bill
is what
Clinton style
this
now.
is what journalists do. They read something online, and they just go, maybe this is something, maybe it's nothing. I don't know. It's out there.
I mean, I don't fucking know. I don't know. It's like, have you ever microdosed DTMT? All right, look, I don't think we can take any more Ben Shapiro. Fuck it, whatever. We already told you how to handle him. We do have to get to our final nerd, and it is a doozy. I just want to, you're going to explain this, Will. You're our lead and our scholar of these people, and I honestly appreciate the fact that you're willing to actually slog through this people's stuff.
I love it.
It's important for us to know. But I just want to let you know I'm going to let you know 2 things, and then we're going to play this clip, and then Will's going to take it away. The person we're dealing with now's name is David French, and he is author of a column called Men Are Getting Weaker Because We're Not Raising Men, which leads us to a clip of David French being a man.
It had to be the World of Warcraft reference. But to be fair, I wasn't profiled. My level 110 priest, Ricky Bobby, was. So I'm just going to go ahead and apologize in advance because I'm going to be talking to you about free speech on campus, and I cannot talk about free speech on campus without launching into a parade of microaggressions, okay? So I want to begin this a little bit unusually. I'm going to give you a quiz. Okay, so this is interactive. I'm going to read you a paragraph, and in this paragraph are 8 microaggressions. 8. All right, so I'm going to see if you can get them. So here goes. As you guys know, America is a glorious melting pot. Over at Brian's Taco Shack and Sushi Truck, our best sushi chef is a Latino named Jesus. He's totally OCD about cutting the perfect piece of salmon. He just got an offer from the best sushi restaurant downtown. It just goes to show that in America, if you work hard enough, anyone can succeed. So let's all stand and give Jesus a huge round of applause.
All right.
Okay.
Cut his mic.
Well, no.
So yeah, cut his mic. We're done. I just want to say that is David French, the author of "Men Are Getting Weaker Because We're Not Raising Men." Will Menaker, take it away.
Okay, David French. I mean, you heard his voice, and you can look up what he looks like. David French sounds and looks a lot like, he sounds identical to, but looks also very similar to Spike Jonze. Have you ever seen the movie Three Kings? David French sounds identical to Spike Jonze in that movie.
Dude.
He has that like squeaky, weird voice.
Oh my God, you nailed
and he
that.
even
Dude,
really
is there a way
looks
to
like
get
him.
that up at some
You can
point?
find a clip of Spike Jonze in Three Kings. And this is the first thing I noticed about him.
Okay, that's perfect.
David French first sort of hopped into my consciousness as he was a writer for the National Review. He's like he was in the Army Reserve like JAG Corps, and he's milking that as like he's a fucking troop or something
sure,
he was
right.
like, you know,
JFK with swift boats.
yeah. Okay, so he first jumped into my consciousness with an amazing take that is like, to me, created like this whole mythology. It's become like a running joke on Chapo. I love it. He wrote an article over the National Review about how when he was going away for his tour of duty in like an office in Baghdad or wherever he served, he had this whole thing about like, you know, rules that I had with my wife. And it was all about how, like, I specifically...
What?
No, seriously, no. It was, like, about maintaining the relationship.
Oh,
and one of the
okay.
rules was, no emailing men. Like, you can't... So he had rules about emailing my wife. Or he was
My
like...
wife?
Yeah, exactly. And it was like...
Cannot email because while I'm in the war, she will send
she was
you.
like, no chatting with guys, on Facebook messages or emails or things
Oh, well,
like that.
I mean, look, if you Facebook message with a girl, you obviously
You're obviously
get
trying
it.
to smash.
So, yeah,
You're
I mean, come on. All
obviously
right,
trying
so
to
let's
smash.
cut him some slack on that one.
I give David some credit for that, but I just love, like, he's the wife email guy, right? So
the wife email guy.
and then the further
Who says that men should be men.
yeah, exactly. But he wasn't like, I'll tell you what, if you email my
You're
wife,
right,
I'm gonna fucking find
exactly,
you.
yeah.
He was like, actually, honey, you shall not be emailing any man.
Can I say I think of this random anecdote. We were leaving a club the other night, like at 4:00 in the morning.
Ooh, humble brag.
This was yes, that's the first reason I mentioned it. But this guy needed it translated for me, but he said in Creole to this other dude, he said he walked up to him at his girl and was like, if you weren't here, she'd be coming home with me.
See?
And then he said, and I share her with you. So I feel
This
like
is what people
how
are
many
like.
times has this been said to David
This is
French?
what people are like. This is what people are really like. So I almost have to credit David French for being so proactive and trying to avoid being cucked. But so anyway, and then like the more I looked, and then eventually,
Right.
he was briefly floated as a presidential candidate by Bill Kristol, who wanted him to be like the never Trump conservative dark horse who could finally take down Trump. The idea that this fucking dork would get on a stage with Trump and be like, actually, sir, you are not a real conservative. Trump would just say one sentence and just annihilate this
He'd be
guy.
like, yeah, go email your wife.
Trump-
Yeah, go email your wife.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll see your wife on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This guy would have been like, Donald Trump would have adopted this guy's kids by the time he was done in the debate.
Oh my
Like,
God, I have my first black kid.
Yeah.
I took them from David French. You know how mean Trump would have been to this guy? I can never forget this moment. I know I've mentioned this before, but it's just so apropos. You know how Trump, like, is, of course, he's like the worst human being on the planet, but he has those moments where his ego has been so satiated where he can actually be kind of like grossly magnanimous. You know, like, so there's this one moment I think of where, I mean, he just fucking destroyed, like, what he did to Jeb Bush still
So good.
was so beautiful.
So good. And Marco. And little Marco. Little Marco.
But the difference being was that with little Marco, he never, I think honestly, just because of like little Marco looking better and being younger, he could never quite like, he still, even when he beat him, he still had to be like little Marco. But with Jeb, he got to a point where he fucking owned Jeb so much that there was this moment where he was on a Sunday show and they played a clip of Jeb being like, oh, you can't do this.
You don't know how bad you look right now.
Yeah. And they go to Trump and Trump doesn't, Trump's just like, he goes, look, Jeb's a nice guy. It's not going to happen. Like he just was done. And I think like that would have happened so quick. Like he would have first destroyed David French and taken him to a place that David French cannot even conceive of in his like emasculated little brain. And then after he was done, by the time we were in October, Trump would have been like, oh yeah, look, David's a nice guy. They would have gone like, here's David French, like, this guy's a portrayal of conservatism and he's a Nazi. Look, David's a great guy, nice to his family. Not gonna happen.
Okay, so like David French has been in the Chapo reading, starring in the Chapo reading series. Like he's a repeat. He's a returning champ. I haven't tallied up how many people have had the most Chapo reading series, but he'd be up there. He'd be in like the top 3 or top 5.
Strong contender.
Excuse me.
Yeah, go ahead.
So then, like, the further you like, you peel back more and more layers, and you find out he's a gamer. He's in a Warcraft guild with his son, and they game together. And like he loves Warcraft. He loves video games, as he said in that
This is why
clip.
we're gonna lose
He
to
has
Al Qaeda, folks.
A level 120 paladin named Ricky Bobby because he thinks Talladega Nights is a really funny movie too. He's like one of those guys. He's like that Will Ferrell. He's a cut up, but then I don't much like his politics. But you know,
he's a cut up.
Yeah. I want to read now, and this is one thing I have done on Chapo before. So forgive me if I'm doubling up on this for you, but like this to me sums up. This is like the perfect David French anecdote. This is an article he wrote for the National Review called "This is How Free Speech Slowly Dies." And what I loved about this article, this is my favorite thing that I always look for in a reading series, is that like it's essentially it's trying to make a political point, and in doing so, it reveals something amazing about the person's personality, or their personal life, or just something about their character that betrays this whole other universe. They're like the completely opposite to what they're going. So this is the subhead here is David French, and he says the government is now subjectively policing the emotional impact of individual emails. I forget what the. So I'm just going to read the
guys who email your wife.
Yeah, well, he's very concerned about email. We know this about David French.
Email's a big thing. Okay.
So this is just I'm just going to read this at the very beginning of this article. So he goes, many years ago, when I was a brash young conservative lawyer working in a big law firm. I mean, you were young, but you were never brash, David. Come on. He goes, I said something that could have ended my career and most certainly would have today. It was March Madness, and I was running one of the firm's 2 bracket pools.
Oh, God.
As a basketball snob, I disliked the traditional pool because it was too dependent on sheer dumb luck. He's talking about a March Madness bracket, which by definition only depends on dumb luck. Like, I mean, there's a little bit of like,
it's essentially deducting the obvious.
I mean, it's like it's luck. It's like fucking the
fundamentally,
lotto.
It's luck after you've accounted for the obvious.
So he goes, as I recall, lawyers' 10-year-old kids had won the previous 2 years, and I wanted a pool for serious fans only. So I created what I called the conservative bracket, a pool that put a premium on picking upsets, which again, that's
a
luck.
contradiction.
That's luck.
It's also a contradiction in terms. I'm sorry, I got to be nerdy for a second. Wait a second. The conservative bracket was built on picking upsets.
Yeah,
that doesn't make
because he's
sense.
like, there's more skill involved in it if you know the teams more.
That's a contradiction in terms.
So he goes,
if being conservative, you'd pick the number 1 seed. I'm sorry, this guy's such a nerd. He brings
in
the
a
nerd out in me.
firm-wide email.
Yes.
I said you could join the traditional liberal bracket, where merit was irrelevant to outcome and even the most ignorant fan could win a trophy. Or you could join the firm's Republicans and test yourself against the best.
Oh.
So what I love about this, this
Toilets
to me,
needing face.
this sums up like the conservative dork mentality so much, is that he had to create his own conservative bracket because kids beat him the last 2 years and he couldn't handle that. So he's like, in a firm-wide email, was just like, would you like to join the superior conservative bracket? And then as it goes on, he said what Villanova played like girls, and like the head of his law firm was a liberal feminist who didn't like it. And then like when he came to his office one day, they had like papered it with like women's basketball posters or whatever. Right. And I was like, dude.
You don't even understand how sad you are.
Wow.
That's actually kind of like, I mean, it's actually more serious, but that's sort of like Rand Paul being like, how about my own medical accreditation? Like, I didn't get accredited. Well, how about no more sissy liberal accreditation? What about my own accreditation? I'll accredit myself.
He created his own NCAA tournament because he was mad that kids beat him.
That is absolutely amazing. Did you ever hear, actually, and then just as a brief, I want to say to people, for future reference, start sending me clips. We'll crowdsource this because I know people like my Pod Save America impression. If you send me clips, I will do the impression and analysis of any clip you ask for.
Yeah, neither one of us really wants to.
Yeah, but I can't commit to listening to it to do the research. But the thing that was amazing was that after David French, who is just like a goofball, that whole like resistance and Republican nonsense went to Evan McMullen, who is like half goofball and half like genuine creepy CIA operative.
Evan McMuffin had a tweet where he was like, when I was in this, he literally said in a tweet, when I was in the CIA, like we were giving money to Al Qaeda or something. It was something along that line. He was like, we were working with Al Qaeda.
Different people with the CIA. And then he was on Pod Save America with those fucking twerps, and they're like, so like this is a really bad situation. Like Trump and like super bad. But you're Republican, we're Democrats, but like President Obama, who's our boss, our boss, like he's like, just like, what's your ideas? Like, maybe we disagree, but maybe we agree, but like, what are your ideas? Like, how do we resist? And then Evan McMullen essentially used that opportunity to give a lecture in like essentially why like the modern welfare and administrative state should be completely dismantled, and like an argument for like radical Stone Age conservatism of Paul Ryan. And they're just like, oh wow, I hope you have further conversations, dude. Like, I've said, like he literally was handling them like CIA assets.
Everything I've said, and I've said this before, but like, if you want, like, look no further for why like everything about the resistance just repels me viscerally. Look no further than the Pod Save America guys being like, hey, we may not agree, but like Bill Kristol, this is just like the part in the movie where like the two enemies team up to fight the bigger enemy. Like it's like we're teaming up to fight the alien invasion together, or like, you know, the elves and the dwarves and, you know, in Lord of the Rings or some shit like that. Bill Kristol, a guy like here's the thing. Here's the Pod Save America. If you can be in a room with Bill Kristol and not at least spit in his face, then I don't trust you as like, you're not a political ally. You're worthless in my opinion. Much less, let alone talk about like how he's like, you know what, he's one of the credible Republicans. Like, this is a guy who would like he would sell his own kids into like sex trafficking if it meant we could go to war with Iran tomorrow.
Or if like, or
there's nothing.
You know, the only reason he wouldn't sell his kids into sex trafficking so Israel could annex more land is because he doesn't need to. I mean, and the notion that like it all just comes down to manners. Like it's not the fact that, you know, Bill Kristol is an intellectual architect of like almost every travesty abroad in the modern era he's had his finger in, including most prominently, obviously, the invasion of Iraq. But it's just that like, oh, well, you know, he's polite.
Yeah, and like, and all these guys that are against Trump, like, again, I mean, I'm sure all your listeners, I mean, this is just like preaching to the choir, but like a Jeb Bush or Marco Rubio administration, materially or policy-wise, would have been exactly the same as what Trump has done so far.
Without any doubt. There's no question.
Like maybe
about that.
maybe the people they would be nominating to the federal bench would be like, vetted Federalist Society robots and vampires instead of like the ghost hunters or whoever that Trump is putting up.
Right.
But like, I mean, functionally for the impact on our lives, there's no difference.
Zero difference. Yeah, that's exactly right. You're calling from a 617 area code. Who are you? Where are you calling from? Oh, sorry. I should give you a heads up, man. You there? 617. Going once. Going twice. Oh, sorry. Gotta keep it moving. You calling from a 303 area code. Who are you? Where are you calling from? Dude, your phone's really bad. Give it another shot. Yeah, this isn't happening, man.
You there?
You there? Hello? No. Well, it's good. I don't feel bad about losing calls tonight. You're calling from a 518 area code. Who are you? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is James from Niskuna.
Hey, what's going on, James?
Not too much, Scott. Two things. First, shout out to Adolph Reed. Got a real good line from him slagging off Obama in 1996.
Wow. He's the
direct
Don.
quote here. His fundamentally bootstrap line was softened by a patina of the rhetoric of authentic community. Talk about meetings in kitchens, small-scale solutions to social problems, and the predictable elevation of process over program, the point where identity politics converges with old-fashioned middle-class reform in favoring form over substance, which
Adolph is a genius.
There.
I mean, that's the fact that he wrote that in 1996. I mean, Adolph Reed's the Don Dada, man.
On point.
Yeah.
That I guess transitions from him through Ta-Nehisi Coates. Ta-Nehisi Coates, I have disagreements with him, but I still give him love for destroying my least favorite political personality, Jonathan fucking Chait.
It's true. Ta-Nehisi did rip Jonathan Chait apart. That is true. That is true.
I absolutely despise this little thumb-faced man who is like Arthur Schlesinger, but with a shotgun lobotomy, just rambling on the same two fucking points forever,
now,
alternating between...
That's a great line, dude.
I agree with you about Chait. However, point to Ta-Nehisi just logged off Twitter today because people were mean to him.
Dude, Jonathan Chait.
Dude, I'm mean to him every fucking day, and he just turned his notifications off, so that's +1 for Chait. I'm sorry, logging off because people are mean to you. I gotta say, not a good look. Chait. Not like he responds to criticism or like takes in abuse,
right?
But he's still there, getting his point out.
Yeah, but
he's still posting, and I gotta say, always go with a poster.
I hear you, but also like it shows that like Coates is human, and Jonathan Chait clearly like the reason he's still posting is he does not give a fuck because he's a robot.
That's what I respect about
you
him.
Respect. James, is it your birthday on Thursday, man? Are you the same person? Turn your radio down, buddy.
Sorry. No.
Okay, different dude. All right, well, look, thanks for the call, brother. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Sounds like you're celebrating them.
Yeah, it sounds like you're enjoying yourself one way or another, buddy.
No, this is me normally. This is me stone cold sober.
That's awesome.
I live
518. Is that upstate New York?
No, he's in Cali.
Yeah,
Cali?
this is.
But I thought you were in
No,
Cali.
I'm not upstate. Yeah,
Oh, I
I'm
misheard
upstate
you.
New York. I sound like I'm in Cali. I'm
do.
from like outside Albany.
Outside of Albany, love it, brother.
Fucking A.
518 area code. Gotta love it, brother.
Hell yeah.
Gotta love it,
Patreon
brother.
to both podcasts going on here.
Thank you.
Thanks, brother. Have a good one, man. Thanks for the call.
You too.
You're calling from a 646 area code. Who are you? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Michael.
Hello.
Hi. Yes, I'm just. Let me keep it quick because
Is
I
this
know you gotta
Monique?
keep it
This
quick.
is Monique.
So, yes, it is. It's Monique, and I'm keeping it quick because
Okay.
I know you got to keep it quick. And
No,
this
but-
has been a sausage fest. So.
Yes, that
But,
is true. It has been
I
a
just wanted
sausage
to
fest.
Thank
I
you
agree.
so much from learning so much. So now I'm like a Maoist Monique. So that's my
Yeah.
thing going into 2018.
I love it. Maoist Monique.
So-
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
Can I give
and
you a
that's part of my
shofar?
identity too. So I have an identity in politics.
Can
But
I
know
give you? Can I give you a shofar?
I gotta keep it up because I gotta keep talking quick because
Okay.
I know,
Yes.
But yeah,
Can I give you a shofar though?
huh?
I'm going to give you a shofar. Okay, that's part of my identity.
I get a shofar?
Yes, you do.
Dag nabbit, I hate that. I wanted to cut you out because that is my identity. But anyway, thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Monique. You're the best. Say hi to all the nurses.
I will, and please keep Puerto Rico and Virgin Islands
Yes.
in your thoughts and prayers.
Yes, and I
what I-
promise more coverage of that early in 18. Both of those cases, absolutely. Thank you, Monique.
All right, I love you. Bye.
Love you back. Bye-bye. You're calling from a 617 area code. You're trying again. Who are you? Where are you calling from? Oh, you are pissing me off, 617. You're making me look bad in front of my friend Will Menaker.
Hey, 617, don't try. How about that?
Yeah, don't try. Just do or don't. All right. You know what, 617? You're banned. You son of a bitch. You're calling from 303. We're trying you one more time, but it's 303. Are you there?
Calling.
Yeah, I can't hear you, man. I'm sorry. It's just too bad a connection.
God damn it, dude.
Wait,
Now you're good.
Now you're good.
Now you're good.
Try it
Go-
again.
Stay
Go for
right
it.
where you are. Go ahead. He just All right, that is actually the best call in this. Oh, I should have said this is the 20th episode of the show. My bad. All right, one more call, then we'll get to all the Discord and
Wait,
IM.
hey, can you hear me?
Yes, this is 413.
Yes, go fuck yourselves, please. Very glad to see you, though. All the same, Tavarish Klenovich and Mr. Broken Record Menaker. I nearly fell asleep at your nerd stories.
Yes, this is what I wanted.
Films from 1970s. John Hughes is dead. Let him stay in his grave, Doc. Okay, I just wanted, I was going to do something like rambling on about
Just keep insulting Will. It's fine.
read Ta-Nehisi Coates and obsessions with like education and all that and the other, but I don't know, I'll shoot you like a message and so on and so forth. But yeah,
Okay. Do
Nerd-
you have
like,
any other insults
you
for
think-
Will? Because Will would like insults.
No.
Abuse
I
me.
don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, I don't have bits. I just use voice. Just that. Don't keep television. It's bad for your eyes. It's bad for your brain. I don't know. Maybe you meet more interesting people. Get off couch.
All right.
Experience reality.
We
I
got
don't
it. Sounds
know.
like
Okay.
another endorsement
All right.
of bullying.
413,
Thank
that's
you.
Western Massachusetts you're calling from?
That's where I grew up,
Yeah?
man.
Fuck, no,
This is-
no, I'm not. Except that I'm in Queens right now. Watch out!
Oh,
I
okay,
can
but
run
the area
you
code is.
and
The area
terrorize you in person. All right.
Anytime, please do.
Thank you for the call.
Love threats.
Where did how do
Actually,
you,
this
how
is
do you-
funny. Like,
yeah.
if you like real Chapo heads will know this. This is fucking ridiculous. When we started the show, we actually had a segment in like the first couple episodes called Chapo Death Threats, where we would close the episode by just be like, "This is the Chapo Death Threat of the week," and I mean, it didn't last long. But I would love to bring that segment back now and see what happens.
That would be fun. You know, it reminds me. It's sort
Just,
of
you
like
know-
when you watch I feel bad for Alex Jones now because like he was like for years was going under the radar and he could just be like, Chobani wants to bring in refugees. You can rape and kill people. And then all of a sudden, like he's a major media figure, and so like Chobani's like, dude, we will destroy you. And then he's like. Statement regarding Chobani, and now like all of his bullshit.
I apologize to the yogurt company. Their yogurt's very good, probiotic.
And now it needs to be all like non-specific. Now it all like he can't like he used to be. Now it's all like the globalist. He used to be like, yo, this specific person, this specific company, they're fucking kids. I have the documents. Now he has to be like.
I wish I could do it. You know, I wish I could still do it on my show. You know, like bring back. You know, just be like, once again, this is our new segment. Not a joke, not satire, 100%. Let's kill Jeet here. So I'm doing it on your show now, Michael. So again, I'm getting it out of my system
section.
now.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
okay.
Did you actually? You know what? Did you see the clip? I did a very I feel like someone told me once that I'm the foreign minister of the dirtbag left, which I thought was hilarious because I can be kind of diplomatic. And I did a segment about Jeet's piece on Chapo, on Majority Report. Did you come across that?
I didn't.
Where I endorsed everything. No, there's no reason why you would have, unless you were following good content. But the thing, that was like, we don't need to get back into it, but the thing that really disappointed me about that, because I mean it sincerely, like I think for like a liberal-oriented writer, and I've actually interviewed and done some stuff, like Jeet's as good as it's gonna get, and a part of that column was just like he opened it by indulging in the bend the knee thing, which everybody knew was bullshit, and he said this is bullshit after spending 2 graphs quoting lunatics saying it was a thing, and I just couldn't get past that.
I think what it is Jeet sort of like negged his way into a job with the New Republic by being like their most prominent critic of like the Peretz years,
right?
And rightly so,
right?
And I think he tried the same tactic with us, and sorry, Jeet.
Yeah,
you're not going to go home with us. Not going to work.
Yeah, Marty Peretz, man. I mean, like, isn't it amazing? Like, for all of like the fact that our world is just in such tremendous trouble, but like. This is another one of these like difference between like Will and I, and if you're like listening and you're 20, is like when we were in college, there was a prominent magazine in America, not just a prominent magazine, one that like ID'd as liberal, that had a publisher whose sole reason he had that job was because he married a rich woman and apparently treated her like complete garbage, and then had like a blog section where he wrote like, and by the way, like again, not ironically, not with Salad Man style caveats, just straight up like, thought of the day, Arabs are subhuman, and I know Al Gore. And this was like a major American media figure, like teaching positions at Harvard, columns in the New York Times. I mean, just a fucking abominable human
And by the way,
being.
if you are a media reporter or an aspiring one, Leon's already taken his lumps for the New Republic. And anyone want to look into the open secret about Marty Peretz? I should say allegedly.
Yes,
because that those stories are out there for sure.
Oh, tons
and any
of
reporter
stories.
can dig that, can look into that.
There's a lot of speculation.
He was on the periphery of all the Leon, the Weiseltier stuff.
Yep.
But like him personally,
right?
You know,
there's
I'm just saying,
lot of speculation.
There's a lot of shit.
There's a lot of stuff that seems to be worth. I think even Gawker put on the table several years ago. But he's just a sort of what a fucking loathsome human being. All right, let's do a few IMs and Discord questions, and then we'll move. Staten Island Mike. Oh, Will, this is for you.
All right, let's do it.
Will, you have a face for podcasting and a voice for the DMV line.
Hell yeah. That's why I'm podcasting, baby.
What did you do to stay grateful for the what do you do to stay grateful for the shockingly undeserved success you have?
What can I say? Just stay humble every day. All blessings due to God.
Will, it's one thing to not know how to pronounce Le Carre, but how do you mispronounce cast? Is there any thought to suing your sixth grade?
Felix mispronounced cast. That was not me. Felix mispronounced cast. He said like car or some shit like that.
All right, well, you debunked that one. Final one from Staten Island Mike. Will, you're clearly a fan of the Ricky Gervais XFM show. And clearly you're the Ricky of Chapo. In that 3 years from now, you'll be absolutely unbearable. What is going to be the Twitter, your version of Twitter atheism? Wow, this guy did a pretty. That was
Mike. I asked to get roasted, and I gotta say that one was fucking on point.
Dude, my fans
honestly,
show
I
up, man.
worry about that all the time. That I'm like the Ricky Gervais of Chapo.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
dude, my fans don't play.
Mike from Staten Island, you're absolutely right. We will just see what will. Hey, you know what? I'll take that, Mike from Staten Island, because despite becoming insufferable later, Ricky Gervais did bring us the Ricky Gervais show
and the Office man.
And Extras, which I gotta say was also really good.
I think
so if I could produce
is
something
very underrated.
If I could produce something like half as good as what Ricky did in his career, I will take becoming lame later in life.
Fair enough. Okay, very magnanimous.
But I'm also like slightly overweight and have bad teeth.
So you've listened to you've listened to the XFM
I've listened
shows?
to every single one of the XFM ones.
So
I have had like the whole Pilkington lore like so thoroughly imbibed.
Like the holiday special?
The holiday, all of it.
Okay, these are some questions from the Discord. Wait. Oh yeah, dude, go. I mean, we're taking questions, but this is I think someone's in there. Yeah, wait 1 second. Yeah, it's okay. Live radio.
Yeah, here we go.
With okay, now you can go.
All
right. It's free, Ricky. So, okay, let's we'll just vamp for a second. Okay, let me try to get through one of these. Question: will you talk about the weird mic? Wait, I don't understand. I don't know this story. It says, question, ask Mike to ask Will to talk about the weird Volcel cuck who asked Will to sign a toy train. That's just too inside baseball for me. Reality winner today at 8:10 p.m. Okay. The Discord is very abstract for me. Watching. Oh, Matt, are you going to follow through on your commitment to touch excrement because of the Alabama election result?
They're not talking about me. They think they're talking about Matt Chrisman, but I feel like it was Virgil Texas who was supposed to touch excrement. Maybe it was Matt Chrisman. Maybe it was Matt. It was Matt Chrisman. So that question is for
these
Will
questions are super. Like, what does Chapo think of Cliff Schechter? I'm not going to fucking ask that.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they have an opinion on Cliff.
Yeah, I don't think so. Can you draw a distinction between Dave Rubin and Ben Shapiro? What distinctions can be made between the two, if any? They are both shockingly untalented. I think that Dave Rubin is the perfect synthesis of craven and cynical and also genuinely stupid. I think that Ben Shapiro really actually is indoctrinated in his own little cult. So to the extent there's any difference.
Is Dave Rubin like tried to be accepted in like the comedy and entertainment community and wasn't, and like Ben Shapiro has always tried to be like a conservative wonder kid and ideologue.
Right.
Have you ever seen Dave Rubin stand up, by the way?
I said this last week. If you ever want to feel human empathy for Dave Rubin and understand why he has become this sort of grotesque phenomenon that he's become, watch him try to do stand-up, and you will feel not necessarily sympathy, but a pang of like, okay, you had no choice. You did need to become this piece of shit in order to gain any recognition.
I just try to imagine, like, if you watch any, like, oh God, no, I've tried to, I can only do it like 30 seconds at a time. But like, imagine being the type of person who can like have a fawning interview. Just imagine how broken you have to be inside to sit across from Stefan Molyneux.
Yes.
And like consider him like an interesting intellectual figure, or Jordan Peterson, or like
the whole thing is crazy. I can't touch my TA's titties anymore because of cultural Marxism. The whole thing is crazy.
Like again, like just like just what happened to you to like make you like that?
But I think it's like pre anything. I think that's the other great thing about David Rubin is clearly nothing has ever happened to him.
He's
a totally boring, vacuous,
just a very bland,
mediocre.
person, yeah.
He is what the 2017 banality of evil is. Like he is exactly that. He's never thought an idea like, yes, like I'm sure he's experienced some things as a gay man, absolutely. But overall, he's an upper class kid from Long Island who's talent free. He clearly had some aunt who told him he was funny a lot. That turned into a delusion of grandeur about stand up. Somehow he bumbled around the internet and sort of somewhat made it by, but never got the type of success he thought he deserved, even though his even limited success already completely exceeded his talent. And then he found his obvious lane, which is to be like, hey, I'm gay, but I'm also a racist reactionary, which is still novel for conservatives even in 2017.
Or just like I'm the guy that will be like, hey, like I'm not afraid. Like you said, this goes back to Will Salatin. He's like, I'm not afraid to, to host and give a platform to, dangerous thinkers like Stefan Molyneux. Stefan Molyneux is dangerous if you're in his like personal orbit of like a cult.
Right, exactly.
Like, you know what I mean?
Like,
but he's not
he's literally trying to abduct you from your family.
Yeah, he's not a dangerous thinker. I mean, like, yeah, I suppose if you take him literally, he will poison. You'll become a more alienated, unhappy person.
Right.
Like, he's only dangerous if you're one of his wife's
therapy patients that
he's secretly recording. He's
right.
dangerous in that regard, but he's not a dangerous thinker.
Right.
Same with Jordan Peterson. This guy is a fucking just like hack academic who's like never caught on.
Have you done a Jordan impression?
We're gonna read his book for the show. I want to read like the 12 laws of power or whatever it is.
Crazy.
And I've seen him cry and shit on YouTube.
We played that 2 weeks ago.
It's really funny.
We played him crying. He goes, the only way has been the protection of the individual.
And like what I love
and then after doing that, talks about being a real man.
Yeah,
and I mean, color me like fucking like toxic masculinity.
Whoa, Teddy
but
Roosevelt.
I'm not gonna go and give you a fucking spiel about like masculine fortitude after I've just cried in front of a fucking webcam from an email about individual freedom.
And I was like perusing his book, which I said it's some bullshit like the 12 laws to fight chaos or something like that.
It's called the white man's 49 laws of power.
And I believe like one of the first like lessons is like don't be pathetic.
Yeah,
I'm not
good. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
I would co-sign on that. Sewer socialism. My union helped facilitate student organizing at my quote-unquote failing public school, a.k.a. African-American immigrant and working class, starting since 2011. So when I went to a meeting that my old students scheduled at the same time in Milio, Yiannopoulos' billionaire-funded college tour, we had about 300 people hang out and eat pizza while the rich kid Nazis were jerking off upstairs with Milo. As we were walking up to the door, Breitbart's cameraman, Matt Purdy, came out of nowhere and hip-checked a woman at the door, so I picked him up by the backpack and moved him out. I also had the police kick him off campus. I brought this up to Purdy along with the video on Twitter, and he blocked me. And to those who say that campus organizing doesn't work, those kids are a big reason we've had over 40K walkouts and marches and Dia Latinos and May Day. Hundreds of businesses and schools closed in the Milwaukee area. I don't think anybody's saying that. I think we're just talking about tactics and like sort of like how to best.
I'm just saying like this weepy thing where like you give people like Milo and Ben Shapiro what they want by what they want to do is be thought of as like dangerous iconoclasts.
Right. Exactly.
And not, just sort of Barnum-esque frauds and charlatans and just sort of, and like I said, by all means, protest like these celebrity speakers that come if you want, but like, I don't know, like organize like the people who work in your cafeteria at school too. You know what I mean?
That's exactly right. That's
and
the
like,
bigger
and
fight.
just like, don't give them what they want by pretending that like, or by being like, they're dangerous or they're a threat. Or like they're doing violence or whatever because they enjoy that, they like that, they want to be seen of as doing that, and they're not.
No, I just don't have anything to add to that. I agree with that completely. Huge mistake. Pod Save America engages people who were on the sidelines during the Obama years, so I think it's better to engage them in the podcast with more socialist ideas than run them down. I think I am
engaging them. With socialist ideas.
I can do them both, and part of my socialist ideas involve. Look,
by the way, Felix was on. Was it one of their shows?
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was at LA Podfest. He guested on a panel. One of the Favreau or Vitor. I don't know. I was confusing guys because they're. Because their names are literally like John Favreau and John Lovitz.
Tommy Vitor.
Okay,
I don't know who all these
speaking of
people are.
engaging their ideas, Felix was on a panel with one of them at LA Podfest, and they edited him most of what he said out of the final podcast. So,
that's perfect. Well, I'll go on and I'll do an impression of them.
Well, Felix did literally say he wanted Iran to have a nuclear weapon.
I mean, that's actually a very rational position. But it takes a little while to unpack for certain people.
It's funny, but true.
Yeah. That's funny because it's true. Free my boy car fucker. Oh.
Free car fucker.
Free car.
Free
no,
man.
free my boy car fucker. Will is a lazy, recycled content ass bitch.
Thank you, car fucker.
Let's see, what else do we have?
Lazy, yes. Recycled content, no. I'm a pure content engine, content machine.
Okay. What is Michael going to be on Chapo? That's a good one. Luis from Texas goes on, and I say this as a Democrat. Will Menaker is a traitor commie who hates America, but he said at least he's open to an exchange of ideas, and I respect that. And
I've never said I'm open to an exchange of ideas. I don't know what this person is talking about.
Yeah, he never said that. Don't be smirching.
That was
like
a Democrat saying that?
Yes. Remember Waz and I did the and I'm a Democrat. Like rape doesn't exist, and I'm a Democrat. The final question from the Discord, and the only reason I do this is because this is going to lead. I should tell everybody. Usually we're Tuesday. We're doing a Friday show because of the vacation. I should have said that in the public half, but Friday we're live at 7, and this is going to be a preview of a new character, which you'll get a taste of now. But first, I'll start with Will. Obviously, what do you think of the Jill Stein Russia stuff?
Oh my God. I saw someone saying that her and Susan Sarandon should be executed like the Rosenbergs yesterday. And like I said, as long as it keeps
liberals are out,
as long as it keeps making liberals go even more insane after this election, I love it. I really hope Jill Stein did get paid out by the FSB.
Look,
I think
if you want me to say something as fucking dumb as too big to jail, I want points on the Kirkuk oil fields.
Yeah, exactly. Okay? I hope Vladimir Putin. This is true. Vladimir Putin gave Gerard Depardieu an oil field and an oil derrick in Cuba as a gift from when he renounced his French citizenship and became Russian for tax reasons.
Right.
I fucking hope that Jill Stein has some Venezuelan oil money.
I want her negotiating.
Azerbaijan.
I used to be a respected physician and social activist, and now I go and act like a fucking deranged, dumb hippie. You think I do that for free?
Like I said,
if I don't get points on the Gazprom deal, all of a sudden I'm going to start talking about a safe state strategy and not I could magically win. You understand what the fuck I'm saying, Vladimir? Points. Like I saw what General Flynn got paid, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean my overall take on all the Russia stuff is I hope it's true, and I think it's cool.
Will Menaker, thanks a million.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you, super producer Matt Lex, super producer David Slavic. Thank you to all patrons. We got a bunch of new ones during the show. We're just about at that 900, and then we get that extra hit. And then, of course, when the 1,000 happens, we start the animations. I appreciate each and every one of you tremendously. I wish I could thank each of you individually. Thank you, DJ Danarchy. Thank you, Chris Lopaco, for these beats. We're moving. Sunday, Corey Pine on the illicit history theory reading coming at you on Thursday. We will be back on Friday with another live show. Thanks so much. Left is best.